Today I am going to talk about the journey of achieving conversational insights powered by generative AI. Wow, what a loaded statement. Could I throw any more buzzwords into the sentence, right? So 3 things about this sentence: journey, conversational insights, generative AI. I think these are words that we're going to hear so much today, right? So let's just dig deeper into a few of them. Now, generative AI, we all know about business analytics. We know about machine learning algorithms. We know about neural networks now being used in business intelligence as well. And now we're learning about generative AI and how we can use generative AI tools to extract unstructured data, as well as represent and communicate that the data insights in a new and exciting way, right? And that brings me to conversational insights. What does that mean, right? So we all know here that knowledge is power. And this is exactly why we do what we do. The knowledge that we equip businesses with enable them to make better decisions and run the business more effectively and efficiently. It also helps us produce and create better products and experiences for our customers or stakeholders. Right, so conversational insights is all about not just about that knowledge component, but also now looking at applied knowledge. Remember, human beings, we can only take in so much information. And also, we want information on demand. We want information that's going to help us make decisions on the go, especially in the fast-paced, chaotic state of our businesses today. Now, journey. This is the annoying one for me, right? We all like to see cool AI tools. We all love to see the demos by the hyperscalers that kind of give us all of this inspiration. But we know, right, that the data, the infrastructure, the governance, the ethics, all have to play a role into building these really cool tools that take the business forward and drive the business forward. So I hope everybody now knows what I'm talking about now, right? We're all on the same page. Okay, so let's get into the first thing, right? The problem with dashboards, the problem with business intelligence as we know it, right? This is Dexter. Now, as business intelligence analysts, or being in the space, perhaps we've all been in Dexter's space. Dexter, one night while working through the data, came across some very interesting information about the furniture business that he's working at. A lone data ranger, right? He's working through this data by himself, trying to get insights and information to the rest of the business. He finds multiple ways that thieves, right, are stealing from the business. He creates this incredible dashboard, right, with all the information, time, date, place, everywhere, filters galore, right? It's a work of art, right? It's something that if the rest of us in this room had to look at, we might just cry, right? It is beautiful. But the people in the room, and the people in that boardroom do not appreciate the work that Dexter has done. And for those who do, have so many questions. Oh my gosh, this is just the beginning, right? But now what happens to Dexter? He's killed it. He's nailed it. He's given the business what they've been asking for. Insights, business insights, what's actually happening in the company. But now, Dexter has a problem. Dexter has a huge problem. A lone business intelligence analyst, he's got some serious work to do. Over 200 other stakeholders are now constantly emailing him. What about this? Where did you get this data from? I don't understand this table. Please explain it. No, man, that doesn't look right. Can we have a one-on-one? Now, Dexter's whole time, his whole schedule is full on one-on-ones with people he doesn't really want to talk to and doesn't really have the energy to speak to. Not only that, this is not what Dexter signed up for. You agree? He's a business intelligence analyst. He wants to work with data. He wants to find out other insights into the business. All right. Not only that, this company is an international company. And so there are stakeholders from France, from Portugal, who are reaching out, and there seems to be a language difference as well. That's a bit of a difficulty. Dexter's bosses keep phoning him after hours, asking him, how do we make this practical? How do we change the business using this data? They can't explain this dashboard, so now they're pulling him into every single meeting that has to do with this dashboard. Problems, right? And so we introduce conversational insights. Imagine if you could speak to your business and ask it, how's it doing? What would you ask? Imagine if your business was sentient. Imagine it could alert you of all the concerns and opportunities in your business, right? Picture it helping you make decisions on the go. Sounds like something maybe 20 years from now, right? But in actual fact, iOCO and the iOCO team have gotten very creative with the technology that we have now and have seen that we are able to enable this today, right? So let's go into it and start from the beginning. Callan, start from the beginning, right? So this is the sales analysis dashboard of that same furniture company. And this dashboard has all the things we know and love. Line graphs, pie chart, some tables, nothing special. We've seen this all before, right? And in this, right, the only thing that makes this dashboard a little bit more interesting is that it has a chatbot, right? And this chatbot, we can now ask all of those questions, right? So maybe Dexter was getting all of these very repetitive questions in different languages. This chatbot can answer. In fact, we've gone a step further and actually named the chatbot Dexter. So this Dexter, right? This Dexter is available 24/7. This Dexter is available in any time zone. This Dexter doesn't sleep. This Dexter is able to integrate the existing data of the business with even external knowledge bases, right? So now we can combine the insights of what's happening in the business. So for example, what products are selling the best with trends in the furniture market that is external data. Isn't that interesting? Another component of Dexter is that he can help you answer very silly questions, and he's going to be incredibly polite about it. And that user can ask as many questions as they need to, right? Now, why is Dexter interesting? Very often, we find that knowledge tends to be, the more you work up into a company, the more knowledge and insights and information you learn about that company. And the more you find that you can actually drive value for that business. However, imagine if we could empower everyday individuals within the company, not just ExCo, but the people on the ground who need to make everyday decisions about sales initiatives, right? To help them make decisions about what's going to really drive the business forward. Knowledge will no longer be just for the chosen few in the C-suite. It needs to be more accessible and available to everybody. right? We also know that some of our colleagues, dare we say it, are a little bit data illiterate, right? Or they just don't resonate with tables and graphs and KPIs. They want to be told in simple English what is actually happening with fraud, or what is actually happening with sales. Okay, so what are the benefits of conversational AI? We saw increased accessibility, right? Like I said, the information and the knowledge is no longer just sitting with C-suite. It can now be according to all of the users and stakeholders involved in the business. Imagine being able to share these kinds of dashboards with potential customers, investors, and the like, where they can actually integrate and interrogate what's happening in the business themselves. One other aspect that I actually want to go back and mention about this dashboard, something that people get wrong, and I think that might be a burning question. Callan, how do you actually do something like this, right? Because it's cool that you're showing us screenshots, but how do you know that we can actually do this? Are you telling me that ChatGPT can see? No, right? That's not at all what I'm saying. So remember, computer vision works by labeling data, right? So we'll give multiple examples of a cat, multiple examples of a hat, and then again and again and again. And then eventually the computer vision model will know what a cat and a hat is. But this is very different. This is a table. This is a pie chart, right? And so computer vision models, not yet at least, maybe in the future. I believe in OpenAI, Microsoft, Amazon, and IBM. I believe that they will eventually develop something really cool for us to use. But in the meantime, what we've done to enable this is essentially look at how AI understands the world. And what AI can do that we can't do is digest and absorb large quantities of data. Now, I am very forgetful, right? Tell me 3 things, I might remember 1 or 2, right? But AI is able to absorb massive data sets, right? And updated data sets all the time to make these insights, right? And so we feed these insights and context into what the business is trying to achieve, number 1. The actual data, the scores, the measures, right? And also the vision for the future, so potential goals. Also, we can input into these models the problems and the challenges that we've experienced in the past. As Dexter continues to be used, we will also find that it learns more about the business. Essentially, Dexter becomes that very annoying, overachieving colleague, right? So back to the benefits, real-time insights. So like I said, business decisions are not normally formal. Even in large organizations, sometimes decisions need to be made quick and fast. And so with empowering our stakeholders with the relevant information that they can spend more time really analyzing and making use of the information in a way that is real, right? I think in today's day and age, we have such an issue of too much information overload, that the goal here with conversational insights is about how do we make it digestible? How do we make it palatable so that we can actually make sense of this chaotic world? It's all about making sense of a chaotic world. Enhanced decision making, I think that one speaks for itself. Another component of this is, remember that because of the technology of large language models, we now see the integration of extracting that data, right? So for example, your reviews, if you have customer reviews, Previously, that data could not be enabled in data sets. Now, because of large language model technology or AI in that space, we can now extract those customer reviews and deliver insights such as sentiments around those products, or just generally how customers are feeling about what it is that you're providing them with. Improved user experience. And I think this is just generally the name of the game, right? On the one side, we have stakeholders who now feel that they can ask the dumb questions. They can ask the chatbot to start from the beginning without feeling bad about wasting someone's time or still not getting it, right? They can also be spoken to in a language of their choice. Imagine being able to interrogate a chatbot in Afrikaans, Zulu, French, Portuguese, whatever language that you would need to interrogate, because we all know that we sometimes think in a different language. I don't know about you guys. The other component is that we are now saving the energy of our resources, right? So Dexter over there was probably on his route to burnout, right? Because number one, he wasn't doing what he loved, right? Spending too much time on things that he didn't feel were valuable for him or didn't get him up in the morning, right? Number two, he was doing way too many engagements, right? And so we need to protect these resources, because these guys who understand data and understand how to extract that data specifically in that company are very, very valuable resources. Instead, that Dexter can rather manage the chatbot and then look at how many other tools and solutions he can create in the business, right? Instead of hiring more Dexters, this furniture company, right, which doesn't need to be a data science company, by the way, right? Not every business needs to be a data science company. That's why you have partners like iOCO, right? He can then use those resources to invest in more salespeople. They can invest in better logistics channels. They can invest in better products and services. They can invest in marketing, right? So these have massive business implications. Instead of another Dexter resource, you have a chatbot. All right, so let's go a little bit more into building the AI. So these chatbots use natural language processing, specifically large language models, right? And these large language models sound very fancy, but in actual fact, probably most of everybody in the room has access to some kind of Google cloud resource, right? So in these cloud platforms, you can enable AI tools, right? So Google's got Vertex, Amazon's got Bedrock, right? IBM has Watson. All of these tools you already have. It's just about partnering potentially with iOCO to find out how you can actually make use of the tools you're technically already paying for, right? Then the machine learning algorithms. Yes, these large language models are incredibly powerful on their own, but the devil is in the detail. What our expertise does, or what you should try to achieve when doing this, is making sure that these models are fine-tuned. This is such an important word. Fine-tuned according to your specific data set. So what your specific needs, what is the specific context, the specific challenges, and the specific opportunities of your business. Your specific conversational insights bot or generative AI bot should not need to know about everything. It just needs to know very specifically about your business goals and initiatives. And then we mentioned a little bit about continuous learning. This is the most exciting part. Dexter, or at least this chatbot Dexter, doesn't really need leave. He doesn't necessarily leaves the company, right, after 2 to 3 years. He doesn't look for progression, career progression. He's fine just staying there and being a fraud detection bot, right? So that's very important and a challenge that a lot of us also face in the BI space. And then the importance of data quality and scalability cannot be ignored, right? The data is terrible, we're going to get incredibly horrible results, right? So think about this. We know that a great dashboard is only as good as the accuracy of the data, right? There's no use having a visually beautiful dashboard, and it not actually having any accurate information in it. And very similar to the AI, generative AI component as well. It's very important to curate that data so that the model is getting the best information at all times, right? So again, let's go there. We have to talk about governance. We have to talk about using the right platforms and technology. We have to talk about design of our systems. We have to talk about integration. We have to talk about governance. I know. I could just see everybody's face go like this. I'm so sorry. The other components, right? So yes, relevant and clean data, right? We cannot underestimate that, right? And luckily enough, iOCO is an end-to-end platform. So I get to be the cherry on top in terms of AI, but the rest of my teams, or the rest of the teams at iOCO, are there to help with the data engineering, the integration, and other solutions in that space to help us achieve clean and relevant data. Then we also look at scalable infrastructure. Now, the elephant in the room is that many teams in businesses get a budget and they say, go play. Figure out this innovation. What kind of innovation can we drive for these businesses? For our business, sorry. And then what tends to happen is a couple of data scientists get a bit too enthusiastic and turn up a few models and start costing the business lots and lots of money, right? Or they create really exciting machine learning models, AI models, that actually are not scalable because of the sheer cost involved in actually keeping them live and keeping them updated and maintained, right? So what can we do in that regard? iOCO works very closely with our partners, creating discounts where needed, specifically in operational use cases, right? The other capacity is that we do AI strategy, right? Which focuses on making sure that the solution is not more expensive than the problem. And I'm going to say this again. The solution should not be more expensive than the problem, right? And we need to talk about it. Then data security. In the realm of data security, we know that cyber thieves, right? And we're going to call them thieves, hackers, are doing some really incredible work with AI. I think some of the most advanced work with AI. They are using malicious AI bots, right? They are using technology to actually get into your systems and manipulate data so that your systems are confused, right? And they can also eventually get into spaces where they are taking over or hijacking your AI bots, right? And so that all sounds very scary, but in actual fact, it's the same things that we always talk about in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of preventing breaches and preventing impersonations, right? And again, iOCO can help with the cybersecurity needs of your business. So it's not necessarily that we need something different from a cybersecurity point of view, but you might find that it's actually the simple things that just need to be enabled correctly and appropriately that will help you prevent some of those negative aspects that could happen with cybersecurity threats. The other component is integration with existing systems. So many of our customers think, when they think about AI and BI and generative AI, they think about solutions that are standing on their own, right? The bot is somewhere over there. But as you saw in this solution, we have solutions that integrate with existing ERP systems and CRM systems so that you can get this chatbot functionality or other kind of functionality that uses AI in the systems that you already have, right? So it's not necessarily that this chatbot is going to sit outside of where people are already working. It's not something new. It's not a new system that they're going to need to learn how to use. Okay, so we've survived, we've made it through. I hope I haven't scared anybody too much, but I hope I've enlightened you on a very simple and practical application of artificial intelligence in everyday business. How many dashboards and reports do we have? How many of them do we really understand? And how many do we actually engage with? This use case showcases specifically, especially where engagement is low, where it shouldn't be, right? On your finance dashboards, operational dashboards, product dashboards, where you want to increase engagement. You want people to look and explore the data. You want people to be using these solutions to make decisions, right? So this is all about improving engagement, right? And so towards the future and the next steps, emerging technologies like generative AI definitely have the potential to revolutionize business intelligence further, right? So today, 2024, it's generative AI. Who knows what it's going to be next year or what it's going to be called. I'm betting for sentient business, right? So we need to keep an eye on trends, opportunities to incorporate emerging technologies. But I still believe that you need to do this with a business partner who understands technology, whose whole business is centered around technology and centered around how technology moves the needles and drives businesses forward in operationalizing their goals and needs, right? Their specific business needs. Okay, cool. Questions, please, if there are.
And do you find sometimes that with certain clients, they're in such a bad shape that you can almost not deliver this kind of a platform to them?
So we take a journey with our customers, right? So we have very mature customers on the one side. You know, we go to these customers and we are even inspired by what they're doing. I think Nicole, my boss over there, sometimes gets mad at me because I'm like, put me in, I just want to work there for free because they're working on such cool stuff. However, they still need support, right? So there's things that we do for them in terms of ethics and governance. I know we've always spoken a lot on those topics. There's a lot of support that we can provide to them in terms of just a second opinion, a second look at the methodologies, the use cases, and the goals in terms of what you're trying to actually achieve, right? Because the biggest thing here is the mindset. We have the data now, we have the technology, we have these emerging technologies. It's so important to remain focused on what you're trying to achieve, what experience you're trying to deliver for your stakeholders or your customers. So yes, it is incredibly difficult, but again, I love having that end-to-end capability in the company, because what we tend to do is call up the data engineers and say, okay, we're trying to enable this specific use case, right? Maybe fraud detection. And these are the issues that we're experiencing in the data. Can we fix this components of the data first? POC something to make sure that we are catching some fraud, and then at a later stage, develop and improve the data as we improve the AI solution as well. So those are the kinds of approaches that we're working with customers to achieve. So it's, as you could see outside by our display, chicken or the egg, you can kind of have both. We work on both the chicken and the egg, right?
Is it your chicken?
It's not my chicken.
Okay, that's all I know about that chicken.
He is my homie though. That's my don't hate on my chicken homie.
Okay. We still have a few minutes for questions. There's a question here.
Hi, my name is Tabisile. So I'd like to find out if you have to load frequently ask questions to the chatbot for it to analyze.
No. So that's a beautiful thing about large language models. A lot of the processing has already happened. So it understands the context of certain questions already, right? All that we're doing when we do the fine-tuning process is just contextualizing those questions. So no, you don't actually need to ask multiple times in order to get it. However, there is, and we actually develop it for our customers, user manuals. So basically, we kind of need to now teach people how to potentially get the best, how to prompt, right? Maybe some people might not know. So we can also develop that to make sure that we get the best use. But other than that, because of the way that large language models are built, and continuously, by the way, in the background, they're continuously getting better. So even that model in its current state is going to be connected to your solution. And as Google or IBM or OpenAI continue to develop the LLM, it gets better and better and feeds the information in. So it gets even better at answering the questions. And the more you answer, the more data it gets, the more insights and external data potentially that it gets, more understanding it gets about your business and the industry, the better the solution actually performs.
So my question is really, how often do you see in your client base or in your stakeholders, how well are they using the metadata catalog as an enabler
Yes.
for the large language model and the contextualization of the problem statements on the dashboard?
So that's actually what I have to tell. So not a lot, right? Because I think people focus on surface level. And so very, very rarely do people go into the metadata. So you're 100% right. That is one of the components that play a huge role in creating a solution that actually does something worthwhile. What's interesting is that once a solution becomes real to people, then I've noticed that they're a lot more excited about working on it and making it better. So again, the chicken and the egg, what comes first? So we need to show people, oh, it can be this easy, it can be this simple. But at the same time, it can be this easy and be this simple, but it can be better if we work on the first problems.
No, I love the concept of empowering the business. But how do you handle the decision making that's being done on this data or enabling people that don't generally work with data and have a lot of knowledge around what to look out for, how to use the data in order to make the right decision? I'm always worried about that because there's a lot of context, there's a lot of knowledge being created in an analytics team. And sometimes you can't really make the wrong decision if you're not used to unpacking the data the way the team was there to do.
So 100%, and I think we always need to have the conversation of data literacy, and I think that the more that our companies evolve, we know that training and workshops are still important around using and making use of data in a responsible way. And then the other component is simple features like suggested queries, right? So, for example, if there's very specific information that you want people to be asking about that dashboard, maybe you just put a suggested questions on the side, or as you start typing, there becomes a list of questions that you could potentially ask the dashboard that you want specific users to access. And then it also comes into who has access to these dashboards, right? If BI analysts are spending less time engaging with one-on-ones and things like that, potentially they can also start looking at the audience of particular dashboards, right? And so, for example, you could create a dashboard about sales for Exco and a very different one for the people on the ground who might need very different information, right? So it's all about enabling more time and space for the business intelligence analysts to do what they love doing. I hope I'll answer that question. Anything else that I missed? Good? Okay.
Let's take a final question here.
You mentioned that quality is quite important.
Yes.
So when do you do that quality assessment? Is it before you start with the engagement? Because garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Applies there.
Yes.
So how important is it that quality and when do you do it in the process?
So I would say we actually always it's an iterative process to some regard. In some regard, obviously beforehand we actually have an AI assessment, AI readiness assessment that iOCO offers, where we go and we deep dive into the data and we basically look at how ready are you to enable some of these solutions. So in that, we look at the data quality, we look at the data scalability, we look at frequency of the data, we look at the cleanliness of the data, we look at the relevance of the data. Do we need to enrich it with other things, like do we need images, videos, what do we need, right, to enable some of these solutions? So we do that for our customers. And then once we actually have this service called modeling as a service, right? So modeling as a service is AI models, can be generative or just your normal machine learning models. And what we do is we've pre-built them, right? So for every industry, there's around 20 plus use cases that we've pre-built, right? And so things like fraud detection that are quite common, or document processing that are quite common, right? And then from day one, instead of actually building the model from scratch, what we're doing is we're fine-tuning that model with your specific data from day one. And what does that mean? That means what we're doing is we're identifying the issues in the data from day one, right? We're saying, there's something wrong here, or this is not making sense, which leads to a more collaborative approach between me, the technology developer, as well as the business units, right? So now we're saying, okay, cool, this is the results. What do you think? Is this making sense? Where can we add? Where do we need to subtract? Where do we need to enrich the data potentially? Okay.
Yeah, that was super insightful. Thank you so
Awesome,
much.
thank you.
Callan Abrahams.
Always good to see you.
Remember to visit the iOCO booth during the lunch break.